I know, I cannot help myself. I was gonna wait. I had resigned myself to push everything back to the rewind. I didn't have all the information, I didn't have all the images, and then Hasbro hit me with an email with pretty promotional pictures and stuff. So, let's go over their reveals from MCM London and then the Pulse 1027 event. I'm going to start out with G.I. Joe Classified series because they're kind of approaching that same point that I hit with Hasbro Transformers. They are extending beyond my limited knowledge of the franchise, of the property. But the G.I. Joe team keeps it to a, they're just, here's a reveal, here's a reveal, here's this. Whereas the Transformers team is like, just scorched earth with G2 and Beast Wars and newer stuff and things I don't recognize. At least with G.I. Joe, there's some kind of glimmer in my memory banks. Like Nemesis Immortal, my only experience is seeing pictures of the original action figure. And even then, the name's different, this is a different source I think, and everything. Hey, it's a big guy with demon wings, claws on his feet. Well, there's more than that, but that's the basics. There's bones protruding as armor pieces. The alternate head has a full-on helmet top thing. Caught me off guard with the tentacles, though. Again, not experienced with this character. I just know that the old figure was big and purple. And I know that is a very simple description. I'm sorry for not going more in depth, but to me, it's just a kick-ass looking action figure. I was much more interested in the digital reveals, and even those kind of stray outside my perimeter of must-haves. These are kinda ones, like Blowtorch. Mustard and ketchup and a flamethrower? Come on now, look at that. Just... The Frag Viper is even less recognizable to me than Nemesis Immortal, but I think we've talked about this character on a live stream because I remember that grenade throwing contraption that he's like, whew. If it wasn't for that, nothing. Big old helmet, orange suit, some gear. It's cool, but yeah, it's all about the grenade flinging for me. Then I almost missed the name-only reveals for the next Retro Card series. That's going to start with Flint, which I guess will be mostly a repaint and maybe redo that overlay piece to be a little cleaner. Have they already talked about that? I can't even remember. The Televiper is probably going to get some new arms with some short sleeves, and maybe some new gear here and there to change it up from what we got with the Trouble Bubble. But the highest on my list out of all of these is first appearance cartoon Cover Girl. Now the first version was, it was okay, but it was in that small little window where the plastics were kind of gummy. The faces weren't coming out near as good as previous attempts. I'd still like to see a redo of the short dark-haired version, but man, to go off on a complete Robo tangent, where was this when I was doing my Cassandra Nova custom? In fact, I used the legs from that Cover Girl. Did I replace that Cover Girl, or did I think, I don't even need this in my collection, in the box? So, yeah, this one's top of the list. Moving over to Marvel Legends, the big reveal at MCM London Comic-Con was Captain America, Brave New World. At the end of the last rewind, I was trying to manifest some kind of British representation at MCM London Comic-Con. You know, like Rachel Summers for Excalibur, that would have been damn sweet. But we get Captain America, which is not a bad thing. The movie's coming up, they needed to announce some MCU characters. I'm just poking fun at being in London and announcing an America-based country. I think a lot of this is reuse, especially the upper half. I think that's previous MCU Hulks, and even maybe Totally Awesome Hulk. The big arguing point for this, though, is the likeness, and I do have to agree that there's not a lot of Harrison Ford here. This is probably because of having to work with concept art, and we even saw that in Marvel's promotional images in places, like I think on the wall of the booth or something. It wasn't quite Harrison Ford, so the figure is probably based on that. But it's still a big MCU Red Hulk, so I really like this Falcon design, though. The greens do it for me. I guess it brings it into that military top environment. A little vulture-ish, but that's okay. Two heads are the way to go when there's helmets and visors, but both of these heads have helmets, so it's cool, but I would have liked to seen completely unhelmeted too. Red Wing is also still red because Red Wing, even in a green color scheme. I love the wing upgrades though. When it comes to the toy, the articulation, they can now swing around wherever you want. It looks more dynamic. They can use it as a shield. Yeah, these are great. Well, okay, the pictures for Falcon don't really feature the shield position as much as the Captain America pictures do. And there you can see down in front of them, bullets. You know, the guy with the shield has more shield. And that makes sense because bullets go all over the place. That's always been my thing with Captain America, you know. He runs, he's got the shield, but he's still got the legs showing and stuff. I don't know, people shooting at him. Not that I want Captain America to get shot. You know what I mean. It's just one of those things you think about when you're watching the movies. I'm warming up to the bluer costume, but man, I really like the white, the contrast of the last costume we saw. I don't know if this is his new one for this movie, or if it's mission-based like we saw with Steve. Just, I don't know. I like the blue, but I like the white a little more. Again, two heads, one with Sam's head exposed and then full-on helmet, like upper atmosphere or faster speeds, which again makes total sense. I love that they did this. Well, I love that they did it in the movies because it makes it a bit more realistic, even though I'm not a big proponent of realism in my comic book movies. I just like that. And I love that they brought it to the figure itself too. So I'm just rambling on now, ain't I? Swinging around to Hasbro Pulse 1027, the team revealed Dark Avengers Miss Marvel. This is a repaint of the Target exclusive Warpath. Warpath. It's one of those days. Warbird. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that body is a little small. It's great. It's fantastic. It looks good but until you stand them up with other figures. So I don't know if that's gonna be a thing from now on where we see Marvel Legends trying to shrink down a little bit, get back to 1/12 scale, or if it's just Carol Danvers, or in this case, Moonstone. Carla? What was her name? They did hint at other accessories though, so hopefully we're gonna get an old school classic Carol Danvers head for this body with the bob. That way we can either have classic Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, and then Dark Avengers. If you're not building that team, there's options. Plus, it'd be something new to throw into a package that is really just a repaint. Yeah, there you go. But it's the Star Wars Black Series reveals that got me the most. And yes, I know I'm so back and forth. I've developed some kind of love-hate relationship with the Black Series. 1 month, it's like, what are they doing? This and this and this. I don't even know if I want to collect this line. And then they come along and do stuff like this. And it's like, oh, baby, come back. I know. It seems like they're making a mad dash with the prequel Jedi, and that does not hurt my feelings whatsoever. Honestly, Luminara wasn't high on my list, but she was on my list, and that's what matters, because that's another one off my list that I don't have to customize. Shakti was up there, though. I even have some 3D prints in the house somewhere that I needed to paint up, because one, interesting paint job, color scheme, but two, prequel Jedi. And now I don't have to worry about paint rub or any of that kind of stuff. I can just buy the figure, play with it, put it in the display, pull it back down, mess with it, put it in a prequel display, get the Jedi together, whatever I want to do. But Sebulba wins everything Hasbro for me this weekend. Because, man, right up near the top. And this is very timely because I was about to pull the trigger on a 3D printed custom kit. Because again, it would be an interesting paint job to do. It's a character that I love from episode 1. He's just a... he's Dick Dastardly in the Star Wars universe. Who would Muttley be? This exceeds all my expectations, simply because the helmet comes off. There's options. That's a great thing. That makes me want two. One with helmet on over on that side, one with helmet off over on that side, giving Jar Jar shit or something. I'm not quite sure if they said anything about needing a stand, but I do remember some pictures of it being balanced. So maybe you have to lean them back a little bit and then put the legs in, or holding the frog to offset the center of balance or something. I don't know. I just know that I need this now. Well, not quite yet. I think pre-orders for these go up on the 30th, which will be the day after this video hits YouTube. So if you're wondering where the pre-orders are, not quite yet. Not quite. What did go up for pre-order is their 10/27 reveal of Savage Opress. I'm still very, 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 very slowly making my way through Clone Wars, and even then it's kind of hopping around. But I really need to jump to these episodes because while I'm not super familiar with the character as he is portrayed in the cartoon, I love this look and I love the concept. This is going to look fantastic on the shelf, kind of towering over Clone Wars Darth Maul. You know, just, okay, there is some fabric there to kind of break up all the plastic, but sometimes you have to find a middle ground between articulation and displayability. So I feel like this hits that balance. And it does slightly skew from what is portrayed in the cartoon, but Hasbro does that with Black Series to make everything meld together a little better. They reel the cartoon, the animated series characters up slightly. The promo pics are beautiful, but during the live stream, the way they had it posed or the lighting was hitting it, that's what sold me on it. Because, I don't know, there's just something intimidating about this action figure in the video. It's impressive. It's a deluxe release, but again, it's got a lot of detail to it. There are some paint hits. I don't know. I guess I'm so smitten by it that it's like, oh, okay. It's another deluxe. Gimme. Come here. I missed you. I'll never be mean again. I know it's never as fast as I predict it to be. It's talking about toys, and I can do that all dang day. And I'll still probably go over these in the rewind again. But by then, I'll be missing more stuff because Lucca Comic-Con in Italy is this weekend. And they've already announced that they're going to do more reveals at it. So, more stuff to talk about next week. But ain't nothing wrong with having plenty of stuff to talk about this week. Oh, and while I was recording this, my Hasbro Marvel Legends HasLab Giant Man showed up. Do I review it this week or do I hold off since there's so many reviews already? Kind of want to just get it open and see what's going on, but we'll see. I also have the Marvel Legends Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Headpool with Logan. Should I do that first or Giant Man? I don't know. We'll see. We'll play with some toys.